What's going on, everyone? Let's try the official opening that we've been lacking. Let's see if it's still rattling around in there. Is it like riding a bike? Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. If you're watching on Facebook, it's gone. How do you lose it?
Let me try it.
All right.
Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa show. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. If you're watching on another platform like Facebook...
and you want to like the page, that would be awesome. Amazing. If you're listening on a platform like iTunes, hello out there. If you want to leave us a 5-star review, that'd be greatly appreciated.
There you go.
We've been putting out content now for over 4.5 years. And you can tell we're getting better at it.
Every single day.
We hope you all had a wonderful holiday week. And I think the big question is, who are you these next 31 days?
Ooh.
There's only 2 teams you can be a part of. It is the I'm going to squeeze the last drop of juice out of this lemon, or I'm just going to put the lemon peels over my eyes and wake up on the 1st of January.
Wow.
So which I think in between is where the most unhappiness is.
Okay.
I think that on December 1st, actually it started basically Monday.
Yeah.
People have to decide, do you go for it? Do you crush it? Do you build that momentum into the new year? Or do you sit back, tap yourself on the back for making it through another year, and you just phone it in?
Phone it in.
The middle, I think, breeds unhappiness. What is your initial thought on that?
My initial thought is that everyone has to know and do what's best for them, because I think a lot of people are in different, points of their life. There's what is it called? Ed Milet calls this something season. Do you know what I'm talking about? I have to look it up. But basically, it's the season of, if you want to get ahead of the rest of your competition, if you're doing something in business, life, whatever it may be, and you want to get ahead of the rest of your competition, you start now to build momentum into the new year, which I've always been a big fan of. You guys have probably heard me talk about that many times. But on the same note, I feel life is very different these days with social media, just so much going on in front of us, that if you're feeling like, hey, I need this breather, I need to take a break, my mental health needs to pause, I'm totally on board with that too. Where I'm at in my life right now, it's I think it's called separation season, where it separates you from the rest of your competition. Now, I feel like where I'm at right now, because there's a lot going on in my life, and just like with this big event that I'm hosting, I can't really just throw in the towel. I can't do that right now. Unfortunately. But what we're doing the next 3 weeks is we're really going to be focusing on like eating better, a lot of activity, all of that, because we know the holidays are coming and all of our family's coming. But these next 3 weeks, why not just be a little bit better with our diet, work a little bit harder on our workouts so that we can really enjoy and feel good? Like, what do you think about that?
I do think, I think I might just be in a slightly different position where not necessarily, because you're right. The thing that I'm really gearing up for is when family comes. Yeah. So to have exactly 3 weeks, building momentum into it is going to be great. I think what's interesting is, before I would traditionally start a new project and want that momentum to be going into it, I'm not interested in starting a new project the next 3 weeks.
Right.
But I definitely want to put a nice bow on the year.
Wrap up everything. Yep.
We finally got around to starting some of the renovations, or I think we can call it upgrades, because it's not really renos. It's not like we're, like upgrades, or how I like to call it, gingerbread.
Where'd you get that from?
My dad's always called it gingerbread.
Really?
And I think it's like a term in the house building world where,
to give you character.
Yeah, because back in the day when the housing market was different, builders had to put the gingerbread inside and out, meaning instead of just throwing up 5, not the houses have 4 walls, just 4 plain walls and making it basic, people wouldn't choose your house. So you had to be a little more artistic, put a little more gingerbread, crown molding, do built-in shelves where the TV fits, a fireplace so that when people walk in, they'll choose your home rather than the home next door. But during the 2020 to 2022 bull run of the market, there just wasn't enough houses. So they were like, we don't need gingerbread. People just want houses because there's 27 offers. It can just be plain with no kitchen and people would buy it. So luckily for us, the reason that we were like, well, why don't we get a new build? We'll keep it on the affordable end in a good neighborhood, really close to Disney where it'll appreciate regardless. And then we'll just eventually do the gingerbread ourselves for free. And I can continue to sharpen my skills, learn new skills from my dad. So that was really fun. But the first few months, we were just really busy. And we just didn't want to even have it on our plate of designing. So, but as of like the past couple weeks, that's been my hobby.
Yeah.
Where I've really enjoyed.
And you're very good at it too.
I'm just really loving it. So in the next 3 weeks, there's some more projects we're going to do. We haven't shown you the laundry room upgrade yet. Really cool. We just need a light fixture and like a couple little things, but the actual shelf, wallpaper, and everything's been built. And this Christmas, we're going to do backsplash. We're going to paint the cupboards. We're going to build out a workbench and a beautiful thing in our garage. And then we're going to be hanging and upgrading all these different little things as well. So that's kind of what I'm doing on that end, and then focusing on the diet. Because when family comes, just like when your family was here, just like Thanksgiving, you just have whatever. We go all out. I mean, we eat and drink, and I'm like, if I can prepare myself and in 3 weeks lose like 6-7 pounds, then it's like when I gain those 5 or 6 pounds back, that's great. I don't want to continue it and then be so far behind on the first.
Right.
So it's kind of a combination for me, I feel, because right now in real estate, I don't have an active client, so I'm going to pursue that in the next 3 weeks, of course. But it's not like I have a client right now. So I'm, family's coming in 20 days. I want to get the house together as much as I can, keep up on all the chores, and of course, keeping the editing. I booked another project that I'm going to be working on. So we've got some cool stuff happening, but mine's all kind of on my own time. You're thrown in and you have like a deadline and a big thing happening, just like I think most people do, where they're finishing out the year where they don't, they're like, well, I have to do it. Yeah. And they get to do it. That's the better verbiage. You get to work.
I like that.
And you have this amazing event. We've touched on it a little bit. But what's going on with it? And is there like a better way to explain it in a nutshell? Because I feel just like
people might not know what it is.
Yeah, the through line hasn't really been clear, I think, through like stories like we've got to watch what you're doing.
Right.
But like what's like a 3-minute summed up version of how it's been and what it is now that you've been a part of it for 6 months.
So the brand itself, Les Dîners en Blanc, aka it could be called Dinner en Blanc. You might have heard that. It is a worldwide, world-renowned event that has happened across, like, I think it's 80 cities over the past 30 years. And basically in each and every city, it is a chic pop-up dinner where friends come from all over the world to this one city. And depending on that city, there are different hosts that throw this party. I happen to be one of the hosts this year. So at these big events, you have all the attendees wear white. There's a secret location, so it's not revealed until moments before. So some of the guests will come and they'll get different departure points. And at these departure points, they might be getting on a boat. They might be getting on a bus. They might be walking. You don't know where the secret location is. And it's just a really cool element of this whole event that people go crazy for. But the really interesting thing is in order to go, you have to be on the list. So there are 3 phases. The first phase is where they welcome back past attendees. So you get put on a list. You pay, I think it's like $10 a year to make sure you have that membership. And in phase 1, they're all invited. And they can register. Depending on if it is sold out immediately, phase 2 will open. And phase 2 is the friends of phase 1 members. So people who had attended, it's their friends. Then phase 3 is new waiting list individuals. So any new guests that want to come. However, with the Tampa Bay scenario, we didn't even get to phase 3. We sold out in phase 2. So we have a big waiting list of thousands of people, but because we didn't get to that part, we couldn't open up.
So how many total then when you close? So the venue could only hold a certain amount?
Yes. So this year it is 1,000 people that we will be hosting, but this is only the second year of Tampa Bay. So each year you grow the event, you grow the event, you grow the event. And a city like New York, their waiting list is 30,000 people. So it's this crazy phenomenon that just everyone is loving. It's so much fun. There's so many really cool elements, but there are a lot of surprises. So as the host, you know, we can't let anyone know where the location is. We can't let them know any, you know, things that will be there because you want to really up it and make it big. So it's crazy because, you know, it's a huge event that you're essentially planning, and it's myself and 2 other hosts. So a lot of my time has definitely gone into planning this, location scouting, going there in person, testing all the food, taste testing all the food, and making sure, you know, just everything. I mean, if anyone has ever planned an event, even like a wedding or something, you kind of have a small inkling of what that is. But it's been really awesome, and the heartbeat of the whole event is definitely the volunteers who help out. So you get how many? I think we have like 30 volunteers this year, but they are all table leaders or group leaders, and depending on which you are in charge of a certain amount of guests, if that makes sense. So it's really cool. I'm really excited. It's happening on December 18th, and we also partnered up with Dillard's Dinner and Blanc Tampa Bay, and we did this really fun style night out. So they closed down the whole store, and from 6:30 to 8:30 our attendees got to come shop for their all white attire, because that's what we wear. We had a DJ, we had you know, some drinks, and it was just a really fun time. So we went last year. What did you think when you went to that event? Because I don't think you've gone to anything like that.
No, it was it was pretty incredible because everyone has like they're responsible for their own table. So they really have the energy of a picnic. So it's not like an event like we've talked about where when you go to the Emmys, the event is already there, the tables are there, the catering's there, and everyone just kind of shows up. The unique thing about this is it's like a pop-up picnic. Mm-hmm. So you're bringing your own blanket, your own basket, your own little table and chair, and then you line it up with a tablecloth. So it's just this open place, different venue, and it's just like quiet and no one's there. And then all of a sudden, boom, 1,000 people show up in white. There's like dancers and DJs and food and like all this stuff. And then 3-4 hours later, everyone takes it down and you leave it as if it never existed. And it's just really just fun. So we got introduced to it through her friends at her brokerage. And then when you were asked to be a host, that was like a huge honor because it's really great. It's wonderful for networking, the people that you've been able to meet. And I definitely can't wait to take some more videos. That's one thing I regret is that I didn't go with you to all the meetings because I could have documented the story of this all better. And because you can only do so much. That's the difficult part is like in today's world. And even Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank said this, like one of the most high demand, most important jobs in the world right now, especially for business owners, self-employed people with hobbies or charities that they want to get attention, is a videographer. It is so important to storytell because when you're by yourself, there's that fine line between taking yourself out of the moment, being the weirdo who's always like, oh, excuse me, guys, let me, and you have me.
Right.
And, it's just that everything's like an hour and a half away and it's such a huge commitment. Yeah. But I really wish I would have gone along this journey so I could have documented properly the beginning of the 3 of you interviewing for the job, getting the job 8 months ago, and then planning it the whole time to come to fruition because you've done a great job with what you could have done on your own. But having, if you end up doing it next year, I would love to. I'm going to document it and show the whole journey.
What's interesting on that point too is at these events we have something called a media lounge. So media will come cover the event. Obviously, you want to invite a lot of local influencers, and so I've been doing a lot of research on the Tampa influencers, the ones I obviously already know as well, and when chatting with all of them and inviting them a lot, go, hey, can I bring a +1 so I can create content?
Yep.
But we know that and understand that, because if you're going to go document something, you need that perfect photo, you need that video of you in it, and you can't do it. You can only do so much like this, but it's a lot better when you have someone there to help you. So I'm really excited to just see how everything turns out. It's going to be very cool. Exciting.
And it's cool, like with the time of year that it is as well, because it's going to be the button to the year before the holiday week comes. So I think it's on a Sunday. So that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I'm just pumped for this next couple weeks leading into the holiday, and I think more than ever everyone needs this holiday spirit, and especially in today's world.
Yeah.
And it's always felt great, but there's just something really wonderful about it now. Even our allotment, they put up all the decorations out there, and people are just in a different mood and brings people together. So
it's nice. It feels good. And that's why too, when right before Thanksgiving, I was like, I don't care. We're putting our tree up. I'm listening to my Christmas music. This is a special time of year. And especially with so much going on in the world and so much social media, like that's where our attention's at. It's nice to unplug and just do things in the present, in the moment, that make you feel good, that make you happy, because I just feel like we don't really do that much anymore. It's so easy to get just glued onto your phone, or just not go outside and step in the grass. We kind of talked about this last night.
Yeah.
And just like feel one with the earth, or just enjoy the sunshine outside, whatever it is, the little things.
Well, I started watching Yellowstone. Highly recommend it if you're into manly men riding horses and committing crimes. And just the open field and sex and business and good business and dirty business and a family and dynamics and betrayal. And it's so good. And the storyline's really great, but it takes place in Montana. And there's even like a scene at one point when people from other states come to Montana, and you're just looking at this beautiful mountains, these beautiful trees, the breeze, the running water, the hot springs, the horses, the animals. That's like who we really are.
Of course.
And and that's what they're all fighting about on the show, which is essentially, this land is very attractive to billionaires and hedge funds who want to come build resorts and ski resorts and vacation homes, and they want to make progress, economic progress. And they meet with the governors, and they're like, this is going to generate $4 billion a year. It's going to have 4,000 jobs. This is good. And then people are like, no, it's going to need high skilled workers. So all of the locals are going to be pushed out, and people from out of state's going to come and take the high paying jobs, and then the housing price. So it's like it's a great like representation of what really went on. And there's crazy things that Montana became a state in like 1890, and this whole entire, like, when you look around at the advancements we have in this world, especially in Florida, when you watch the way that we're like in California, and even my hometown Ashtabula, like people were never building up Ashtabula. They had the mall go in, but I was too young. But Ashtabula's never really been built up. And then LA has no room for any new anything. They just take a building and rebrand it. But in Florida, for the first time, everywhere you drive, it's just sand, structures going up, massive pipes going in for the sewer, and you just see the infrastructure and the roads and the cranes and the workers. And I go, how did somebody come in here, do this deal, get the land? Then there's 8 people on bulldozers. There's people doing, it's just an incredible thing. And then you see all the technology and the internet and everything going on. And it almost feels like this has been our lives for 10,000 years. And it just hasn't.
Yeah.
Montana wasn't even like a state in 1890. That was 130 years ago.
Right.
Like, we have grandparents that are like 100. So they're...
It's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, like our great-great-grandparents, like, what? It just doesn't make sense to me on how long you feel we've been here, but we haven't. And it's back to the whole point with social media, is that we are just locked into this progress of economic growth in the world, where we're like, oh, the buildings and the pretty things and this and that. But deep down, just going out in the grass and relaxing and being with people is how we naturally are. And people are gonna look back at not our generation, but like all of us who were alive during this time, and it will be studied because we went from being the people who had no social media. We were excited about a radio. We were excited about 5 channels on a television, which was cool. But people still went to school. They married their neighbor, their coworker down the street. They all worked hard. Everyone worked hard. Yeah. There wasn't as much, as many problems. Things have gotten much better, but just in the whole like community, things were better. And then all of a sudden, we're transforming from the people who put their feet in the grass, who just used to go out and play ball or pick things from a garden, to having everything delivered to us and soon by a drone. And we're transferring from that type of human that has evolved for how many, like 100,000 years, to these cyborgs that are basically half human, half machine, even though it's not in us yet.
Right.
But everything around us is just taking us more away. And now like camping, and like I wanted to go get an Airbnb in Montana. I was like, I have to go to this town.
God, I can't.
I just have to go look at the mountains and like look at the sky. And at least we get that here though. Florida has that. Montana's different, but Florida has, like, you look up at night and you're like, wow, we are in trees and water and where we live. Yeah.
I read this article the other day where they were kind of saying that millennials in the early 2000s were so special, if you will, because we had just enough technology to make things exciting, but not enough to like overtake our entire lives. We had to still enjoy ourselves. And with Black Friday that just happened, I saw this old video from, I think it was like the 80s or 90s, where all of these parents were going crazy for this Cabbage Patch doll. And they had huge lines. They were all racing to the back of the building because they're like, we're going to be giving them there. Everyone was freaking out. Cut to current day. No one goes crazy like that for Black Friday. People are actually getting mad. They're like, you're only giving us 20 to 30% off on Black Friday. Back in the day, we would go camp out for 90% off, Now today, Amazon, you can get something overnighted. That's what we did the other night. We were like, oh, we need new pillows. You're like, oh, I wonder if we can get them on Amazon. We looked.
They were here 8 hours later.
Between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m., they're like, we can get this to you for like $2 extra.
Well,
it's crazy.
All that convenience is like great.
I like it.
I just think it's I just think it's like so many people used to drink and smoke a lot. And this new generation, I'm hearing a lot that the alcohol use for the younger generation is going down. It's not as like cool or socially like cool as it is for like millennials, Gen Xers. Like we're the party crew. And same thing with cigarettes. Like,
oh yeah, that's
like I like a cigarette from time to time, but to ever at like a Tuesday afternoon after like a business meeting be leaning against my car smoking a cigarette in front of anyone, like that just isn't cool anymore, and it just doesn't look good.
It's crazy.
But I wonder if like there's going to be some sort of shift in the way that we use technology in our lives, but it's just become so addicting that when you get off of it for 3 days, you feel so much better. Yeah. Like a weight's been lifted.
It's crazy to see though what it's doing during these important years for teenagers now, what the internet is doing, because the day before Thanksgiving I was at Publix and this young girl was about to check me out and I was like, hi, and I was setting my stuff down and all of a sudden I looked up at her and she like couldn't respond to me. And because I have anxiety, I knew it. I go, are you having panic attack? Are you having anxiety? And she goes, and I go, okay, you need to do square breathing. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and through your nose. And she started doing that. And then like one of the other employees came and like helped her. And she just was sobbing, crying. And all she kept saying was, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like she was so embarrassed that she did this at work. And it's so sad because this girl couldn't have been more than like 16, 17 years old. And they came in and they brought her out. And I was like, you're going to be okay. Like, don't worry. But the other gentleman who was helping me, he was probably another 17-year-old. And we were walking out. And I was like, I really hope your, coworker's okay. And he goes, yeah, anxiety is the worst. I have it too. And I was just saying to him, I was like, it's hard. There are ways to cope, but it just made me so sad to see that these young, like she was just trying to work and she had this massive panic attack. And I just feel like so many more people have anxiety now because of, or
well, that becomes the question is, did people always have anxiety and it just was never talked about or labeled? But the only reason that I feel like that probably is true, people have always had anxiety, but I think it's worse now because I like my anxiety when I was young wasn't the kind that I experience from time to time in today's world. It was more just like you're a little nervous, or you're like, it was more like a little nervous, but it wasn't like an anxiety cloud.
Right.
It was more like, oh, I'm like you're just a little nervous for a baseball game for a second, but as soon as you step on the field, you're like good to go. Or talking to a girl, who of course would be nervous at first, anxiety, but then but not like being out socially. I think a majority of people were a lot more calm because you just had, you were more about the real life connections. And I think a lot of people who didn't have that back in the day, they suffered just like people are suffering now. So I think there are a lot of people who didn't integrate socially into schools and they were alone. And I think they had more anxiety, social anxiety. Yeah. But I think so many more people these days are alone, and we don't feel like we're alone because you're on social, but there's a difference when you're integrated with real life human beings all the time. And that's what I'm starting to see, how, because for the past 3 years, I haven't had a place of work that was like, oh, here's like all these humans.
Right.
We basically have been on our own for 3 years. And then with the pandemic, and then with moving, you have to start fresh. Yeah. And you don't have family or friends here. And though we get to see people, but like the week your family was here, then leading into Thanksgiving with my dad being here, you feel like you're looking on a Montana field when you're with people in real life.
Totally.
So this just is kind of like a crutch. And we do get value. We do get entertainment, education, inspiration from social media. But there definitely has to be an evolution of conversation around maybe we should just, like how people should drink maybe just once or twice a week, how, doing it every day is not healthy, just like spending 6 hours a day on social media isn't healthy.
Well, the problem I feel with the younger generation is that they don't monitor their usage of it. They're constantly comparing themselves to other people on it, and they would rather sit and watch people or talk to people on the phone than in person. And during your formative years, that's not good, or not healthy, at least that we know of in our lifetime. That's not what humans crave, that physical touch, that camaraderie, that friendship, love. These are important things that we need to survive. And when you kind of pull that away, it's interesting to watch. And I saw something else too, where they were saying how anyone who's creating content online, it's very, very hard to these younger individuals or anyone in general to just look up to them and compare themselves, because the people creating content are either entertainers, content creators, experts, just individuals that really know what they're talking about, or they want to entertain. Like I guarantee most content creators, if they haven't already, would have moved to LA to pursue some sort of entertainment. Like Charli D'Amelio, she was a dancer. Of course she likes to act. Of course she likes to sing. Like she was a trained dancer and performer and entertainer from like 6 years old to however old she was, like 16 when she got famous. That's not the normal average teenager in the world. She was very talented.
It's become, if you're gonna create, well, and this is why this is so complex. Like there's so many things to touch on here.
Yeah.
The first thing is, the portion of creating content in social media where people are making money. So even if you're not a content creator where you're getting paid by sponsors on podcast or doing brand deals and anything like that, but you're a hairstylist, a real estate agent, and you have a business that you're trying to drum up business. There's this guy on TikTok who goes and knocks on doors and go to overgrown lawns and goes, hey, I'll cut your grass and clean your lawn up for free. And they're like, what's the catch? He goes, I just want to make a video of me doing it for free. But then that video gets 1 million views, and now everyone who lives in Detroit or wherever he lives is going to hit him up. He'll charge them $500 and go do their house, but he's using the social media to build. But a lot of these kids, from my understanding of what I've seen and what I'm learning, and that's what I love about TikTok, is like hearing from real people who are in all different parts of the country, is our generation as millennials have gone through one of the biggest opportunities of getting rich easy and quick than probably every other generation. And that's what's messed with us. And that's why the boomers are like, oh, these kids these days don't want to work. It's just very disheartening to think that you're going to go work 40 hours a week plus do a commute to take home $2,700 a month, where you still have to split a 1-bedroom apartment, you still have student loans, and then they're looking online and they're like, this girl's trying on makeup in her house and she's making $26,000 a month getting free makeup, sitting in her house every day making content. And so that's kind of the other tough part. But the idea that we were around when Bitcoin was $1, missed it. When we were around for NFTs, all these technology boosts, like we were around in the past 10 years that you could have just put like $100 into Dogecoin at a certain point and be worth $16 million today. And we're seeing so many people do that. Where I feel when we grew up, the people we looked up to who were rich, they owned 7 gas stations. They owned 3 laundromats. They worked in at a construction company, and you were like, wow, like you own a company, like. And then they're like, it took me 25 years, but it's worth it. And you're like, that's so cool. Like we were watching people we were looking up to that worked hard because there wasn't a get rich quick. You could have bought Amazon stuff. I'm not saying there wasn't, but these days it's like, do drop shipping, or even us. I'm trying not to get involved in this, but I see an opportunity too where I have made so many viral videos on TikTok, and I made this video not too long ago. They got millions of views. And I checked my statistics, and 48,000 of the millions of people that watched this one video looked at my profile. 48,000 people. That's crazy. And I go, like on Amazon, just as an example, and I still might do this with the air fryer. There's something called Amazon Affiliate, where you sign up as an Amazon affiliate, which we both are. We just don't really utilize it much. And they will give you about a 4 to 5% kickback on any product. So if you hit me up and say, hey, what camera do you use? And I send you my Amazon affiliate link, it's just going to show you the camera, $950, this is the camera, and you're going to go, oh, cool, thanks, Freddie. Click buy. It cost you the same, but because I sent you there, they're going to kick me 5%, about $45. And I'm like, that's pretty interesting. Well, then I'm seeing these people online who are getting Amazon products like a burger holder, or they're getting like an air fryer. And if I made like 7 videos of recipes in an air fryer and linked in my profile the air fryer, and it's $100, so say I'd make only $5 per one, but 48,000 people looked at my profile that one day. What if I made a viral video of jalapeno wrapped in bacon?
I know how to make that.
And it gets 1.2 million and 16,000 people bought it. And you start doing the math, and it's like there's just so many, and that's sell courses. There are so many things to make $1 million overnight these days that I feel like everyone's chasing.
But that's why
everything.
Too, the fashion and beauty influencers have made a killing over the years, because that's what they do. With all their outfits, with all their beauty products, curling. I mean, you name it, people will watch your tutorial video, especially beauty influencers, and they go, oh, you helped me, but I want that product. Because I've done that so much. I've shopped so many times from influencers because I see it in the flesh on them, or them doing it, or and I go, I need that. And then you click the link, and that's just why it's a booming industry. It's huge.
And you get to just, but that's what Gary said a long time ago, Gary Vaynerchuk, and that's what's always stuck to us. He goes, in 2017, he goes, you have the audacity to want to be an influencer or a content creator. He goes, you want to use this earth as your playground. You want to travel around and do whatever you want at any given moment of any day and film it, and you want to be paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or millions a year for doing it. He goes, that is going to be a lot of work.
Of course.
Like, you have to earn that. Like, that is pretty much the coolest job, what most kids 5 years old to 18 years old want to be.
Yeah.
Influencers, content creators, YouTube stars, just as much as we all wanted to be actors back in the day, because it was like, we get to travel to New Zealand and shoot a movie and get paid millions of dollars and hang out with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and become bros and like work on like action films and travel.
Here's
it's like,
my next thing. Have you heard about this? So China has TikTok as well. And FBI is saying they're very, very nervous about TikTok in America. And this is why. In China, they limit TikTok usage to 18 and under for only 1 hour a day. When you're on TikTok, it's not beauty influencers, it's not funny videos, it's all educational. So they're learning, different, a variety of topics. Now, when asked children in China what they want to be when they grow up, the number one answer was an astronaut. Here in America, when they asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? The number one question or answer was influencer. Because we're these two different entities are taking in massively different content.
Yeah.
So that's just really interesting to sit back and go, ugh.
Well, when everyone talks about money for the first time, which is helping people also with salary jobs, like it used to be such a hidden, like a private thing. Like if you ever ask anybody who's like 50 or older, like, hey, how much do you make? Or how much do you have in your bank? That's the most like rude taboo thing. Kids who are like younger these days, or they talk about what they make, like people don't care as much, but all these YouTubers and all these influencers talk about what they make. So people are aware of what everyone's making. So when you see someone like a Logan Paul sells $3 million of t-shirts in just 72 hours, you start going,
But the whole point is China, they don't see those videos.
No, because they're creating, but I don't know how much of all that's true.
I mean, who knows? It's just
I've heard that before too, and the algorithm's going to give you what's going to keep you on the app.
Yeah,
that's what's the truth. And I can really curate my feed at any given time. If I'm in the mood to learn about like that whole Balenciaga scandal, I knew if I watched just like a video after video after video, it will go, oh, he's interested in this, and they'll keep putting those videos in front of me. And then when I got like over it, I was like, all right, I've learned enough about it. I'm going to now swipe through it. And now I'm going to go into personal development, and it like curates it so quickly. Yeah. And that's what keeps you on the app.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch as we all continue to grow during this. And I obviously think there's pros and cons. And I think our world is changing at a rapid pace, faster than it's ever changed ever. And I do think there's a huge disconnect unless we have open dialogue with older generations and younger generations. And we're in the middle, but we're so involved in the TikTok culture that we are hearing from the younger generation so that we have an idea of what's really happening. But these are the challenges that younger people are having. Yeah. And we just have to kind of pay attention and figure out how can we help ourselves, help our younger generations navigate this ever-changing world and do it in a positive way. Because I love technology. I love all this. But we have to figure out how to maneuver it. And at the end of the day, what's going to help us all is just the discipline in our own life of putting limitations on how much you consume, choosing your disciplines in your life, making sure you're getting up or working out or doing whatever you told yourself to do every single day, and building your life with the people that you love, and then utilize all this stuff as a
tool.
To
circle back then to end the year strong, it sounds like you're saying...
I'm going to sleep until noon every day till my parents get here and call it a year and start on January 1st.
No. But all that being said, I mean, you just got to listen to yourself and know what's best for you, because we're all different. We're all going through different journeys, different day-to-days. I mean... It's just what makes the world go round.
It is. That's all you can do. I can't even think about this anymore. I'm taking it back to the day and the tasks at hand today.
That's all you can control.
But yeah, feeling super grateful. And that's something to think about as well. Just closing out the year. Just think of all the things you were grateful for this year. It's going to really help. And we got this. I can't wait to see what 2023 is going to bring. And
our big 2-year anniversary
is coming up. Yeah,
that's crazy.
That went by super quick. December 31st.
Woo! We can never forget, baby.
No, New Year's was a great call. So, but yeah, thank you all so much for stopping by and chatting with us today. We're wishing you a phenomenal week, and we will see you next Wednesday. Take care, everyone.